The girl hits the ground before anyone decides if they care. Rain pours over the university courtyard in Accra, turning the tiled walkway slick and reflective. Students rush between buildings with bags over their heads, laughing, shouting, recording short videos. No one really notices the black girl in the faded gray hoodie until her knees buckle and she stumbles into the open square, one hand gripping her side like she is holding herself together. Her breath comes in short, painful gasps. Her vision blurs. She tries to push forward anyway. A Ghanaian guy sees her, slows, shrugs, keeps walking. A group of students under an awning laugh as she slips. One of them lifts a phone. "Hey, see this girl, she go follow." She does fall, except she does not hit the wet ground. A pair of hands grab her at the last second. Strong, steady, warm. They pull her toward a solid chest that smells like rain and soap and a hint of something expensive she cannot name. Her world tilts, but an arm wraps around her waist, holding her up. Hey, can you hear me?" a male voice says, lightly accented, somewhere close to her ear. Her head lolls forward. She blinks, trying to focus. The face looking down at her is unfamiliar. East Asian, pale under the rain. Black hair plastered to his forehead, dark eyes filled with alarm. He is already kneeling with her half in his arms, his clothes soaking. Around them, people stare. Someone whistles, another laughs. No one moves closer. The girl's lips move. I'm fine," she whispers. She is not fine. Her body is trembling. Her fingers claw weakly at his rain-soaked shirt. Then the world goes completely black. If you want to see what happens after this moment, why a Korean Chaebol Heir is in Accra, and what this city has already done to this girl before she even meets him, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and comment, "I'm ready for the full story," below. Now, let's go back a little and see how their lives collide. Morning comes hot and bright over Accra, the kind of heat that sticks to the skin even in the shade. The University of Accra's campus buzzes with life. Students in colorful clothes, groups chatting under trees, cars and tro-tros honking near the gate. In a small room off campus, Amma wakes before her alarm. Her eyes open to the dim light creeping through thin curtains. For a moment, she just lies there and listens. The whirring fan, the distant call of a hawker, the soft snore of the girl in the next bed in the shared hostel. Then the weight presses on her chest again. She rolls onto her back and stares at the cracked ceiling. Her phone lies on the small table beside her, screen dark. She grabs it, checks the time, then scrolls to the last message from the hospital. "Your brother's test results are ready. Please come and discuss payment plan." She closes her eyes. Kofi is 16, too smart for his own good, diagnosed last year with a kidney condition that loves to eat money. Her mother is exhausted. The doctors do not use words like urgent or critical anymore. They just keep repeating, "We'll need another deposit." Amma drops the phone on the bed, pushes herself up, and winces. Bruises line her ribs like ugly fingerprints. She touches them lightly, flinching. Yesterday's run-in with Kojo leaves more than a bitter taste in her mouth. "You think you can just ignore my calls?" he has said, grabbing her near the back of the cafe after her shift. "When I helped you back then? When I was the only one there?" His hand has dug into her side when she tried to pull away. She does not want to remember the rest. Now she wraps a cloth tightly around her midsection under her clothes and tells herself she can handle it. She always does. At 7:30, she is on campus, hoodie covering most of her body. Backpack heavier than it should be with books and the takeaway food she plans to stretch into 2 meals. She walks fast, trying not to feel the ache in her side. In another part of campus, Min Jun stares at his reflection in the glass wall of the International Students' Office. The reflection stares back with calm, dark eyes. He is 24, clean-cut, dressed in a simple jeans and white t-shirt, a black backpack slung over one shoulder. He looks like any other foreign student on campus. That is the point. He smooths his hair and exhales slowly. "Just 1 year," he says under his breath in Korean. 1 year of normal. His phone buzzes in his pocket. He knows who it is before he checks. His mother. He hesitates, then answers. Ioma. Minjuna. Her voice is crisp, elegant through the speaker. Have you eaten? How is the dorm? I hope they gave you the apartment we arranged. It's fine, he says. I told you the simple one is okay. She ignores that. Your father wants to know if you received the course list. Remember what we discussed. International business, development, anything that looks good on paper when you return to the company. He looks out over the courtyard, where students move in brilliant colors. Some are laughing. A group plays music near the steps. It feels alive here in a way Seoul never does for him. I remember, he says. I'll keep up with the classes. Good, she says. And remember, this year is not a vacation. You are there to learn about African markets, build relationships. Do not get distracted. I know. She softens a little. Your father is proud you chose such a challenging placement. We expect great things from you, son. He ends the call a few minutes later, feeling the familiar pressure settle over him like an invisible suit he cannot take off. In Accra, he is not Han Min-jun, heir to Han Group, one of South Korea's biggest conglomerates. Here, he is just Min-jun, the quiet Korean exchange student who signed up for development economics and media studies. At least, that is what he tells himself. He checks his schedule. First class, African media and global narratives. He heads toward the building, rain clouds gathering overhead. By the time Amma's morning classes end, the sky turns gray. Her stomach growls, but she ignores it. She still has notes to finish, a shift at the cafe later, and maybe time to stop at the hospital. She is halfway across the courtyard when her vision swims. The world tilts. She tries to breathe, but pain flares in her ribs. The voices around her blur into a low hum. She keeps walking because if she stops, everything else will stop with her. She doesn't see the loose tile. Her foot slides, her ankle twists, her body leans too far forward. She falls. Min-jun, stepping out of the lecture hall, sees it happen out of the corner of his eye. A girl in a gray hoodie stumbles in the center of the courtyard. He notices the way she blinks slowly, the way she holds her side, the way people move around her like she is invisible. Then her knees buckle. Without thinking, he runs. By the time her body tips forward, he is there. His arms shoot out and catch her across the shoulders and back. Her weight collapses into him with a soft sound, like the last air leaving a balloon. He lowers her gently to the ground, kneeling in the rain. Her hood falls back, revealing a face that stops him for a second. Dark brown skin, rain-slicked. Full lips cracked at the edges, curling lashes resting against her cheeks. Her braids are tied back, some strands sticking to her forehead. He shakes off the thought and leans closer. Hey, can you hear me? Her eyelids flutter. Up close, he sees dark shadows under her eyes. Her lips part. I'm fine, she whispers, but her voice is so faint he almost doesn't hear it. He lays 2 fingers gently against her neck. Her pulse is fast and weak. We need to get her to the clinic, he calls out. Someone under the awning shrugs. She dey faint like that all the time. Maybe she no chop. Another laughs. Hey, maybe no heartbreak. You foreigner, relax. He scowls. Can someone get the nurse? A girl with a ponytail bites her lip, then pulls out her phone. I go call. He looks down again. The girl's hoodie rides up slightly as she shifts. For a moment, when the fabric drags away from her waist, he sees skin. Not just skin. Bruises, yellow and purple, wrapped around her ribs like a hand that refuses to let go. His throat tightens. He carefully pulls the hoodie back down to cover her, anger forming a cold knot in his stomach. By the time he carries her to the clinic, his shirt is soaked and his heart is beating faster than it should. The campus nurse, a woman in her late 30s with sharp eyes, bustles around them when he sets Amma on the examination bed. What happened? She asks. She collapsed in the courtyard, he says. She said she was fine, but she passed out completely. The nurse checks Amma's vitals, frowning. Dehydrated, exhausted, low blood sugar probably. These kids, they don't know how to take care of themselves. She lifts the hoodie slightly to place the blood pressure cuff, then pauses. Her eyes flick to him. "What?" he asks. She pulls the fabric down again. "Nothing you need to worry about," she says. "You're her friend?" He hesitates. "We are in the same class," he says. It is easier than explaining he doesn't even know her name. "We'll keep her here for a bit," the nurse says. "You can wait outside." He sits on the plastic chair in the hallway as rain pounds on the roof. Students pass. Voices echo. His mind keeps replaying the image of those bruises. Who does that to someone? An hour later, the nurse comes out. She's awake. He stands quickly. "Can I see her?" "Briefly," the nurse says. She's stubborn. He steps inside. Amma sits propped up against the thin pillow, hoodie back on, eyes guarded. Her skin looks less pale, but she still seems fragile. Her gaze lands on him, the foreigner who caught her. They just look at each other for a second. "Hi," he says softly. "How do you feel?" "Embarrassed," she says, voice hoarse, Ghanaian accent clear. She tries to smile, but it doesn't quite reach her eyes. "I didn't plan on fainting in front of half the school." "A lot of people saw," he admits. "But most of them did nothing. So maybe they're the ones who should be embarrassed." She snorts quietly. "You're not Ghanaian. You don't understand. Here, if you fall and get up again, they will just laugh and keep walking. Life is hard. No one wants extra trouble." "You are trouble now?" he asks. Her eyes soften just a little. "Sometimes," she says. The nurse returns and hands Amma a cup of water. "Drink. This boy carried you here like some Kdrama hero." Amma chokes slightly on the water. "Carried?" Minjun rubs the back of his neck. "I mean, you were unconscious. I couldn't just leave you on the ground." She looks at him properly now, as if seeing him for the first time. His white shirt sticks to his chest, still damp from the rain. His hair is messier than she imagines he usually allows it. His eyes are dark and steady. "You're Korean?" she asks. "Yes, exchange student," he says. "My name is Minjun." "Amma," she says quietly. "Thank you for catching me." "You're welcome," he says. "But the nurse said you're dehydrated and exhausted. You should rest." She shakes her head. "I have class and work. I am fine now." "You fainted." "It happens," she says. "I just need to drink water and eat more. It will be okay." He hesitates. "Do you have someone who can help you? Family?" She stiffens almost imperceptibly. Her eyes turn away. "I'm okay," she repeats. "You already helped. You can go." He opens his mouth to protest, but closes it when he sees the flame of stubborn pride in her eyes. He nods slowly. "If you feel dizzy again, call the clinic immediately, okay?" "Are you a doctor now?" she asks. "No," he says. "But I don't want to see you collapse again." A tiny, reluctant smile tugs at her lips. "Then maybe next time you should look away." He laughs softly. "I don't think I can." She looks confused at that, so he just nods to the nurse and leaves. In the hallway, he exhales, realizing how tightly he has been holding his shoulders. He tells himself he helped enough. He tells himself he does not need to get involved. He walks away from the clinic, but for the rest of the day, the image of her bruises and the tired look in her eyes follows him like a shadow. If you're still watching and you want this story to continue, tap the like button right now so more people can find it, and tell in the comments, would you have walked away or helped like Minjun? Now let's see what Accra is really doing to Amma, and what happens when Minjun refuses to stay out of it. Amma leaves the clinic against the nurse's advice an hour later. Her body aches, but the fear of missing class pushes her forward. She checks her phone. 5 missed calls from Mum, 2 from hospital, 1 from Boss Cafe. She swallows and calls the hospital first. "Hello, this is Amma," she says. The nurse on the other end sounds tired. "Ah, Amma. We have been trying to reach you. Your brother needs another round of tests. The doctor wants to adjust his treatment. We need another deposit before Monday." How much? She asks, voice already shrinking. The amount they mention makes her grip the phone tighter. I understand, she says quietly. I will bring something. She ends the call and leans against a tree, breathing hard. Her part-time job at the cafe barely covers her hostel rent, transportation, and a portion of the hospital bills. Her scholarship pays tuition, but not food. She sends as much as she can home. There is no extra. There is barely enough. Her mother's text appears seconds later. Amma, please call me. Your brother is in pain. Amma types back. I will try to come today. Please tell him I love him. Then she pulls her hoodie tighter around her hurting ribs and heads to class. She sits in the back and tries to take notes, but her mind keeps drifting. Every time she shifts, pain flares. When the lecturer calls on her, she forces herself to answer clearly. She has battled harder things than bruises. After class, as students filter out, a voice calls from behind her. Hey. She turns. It is the Korean guy from earlier, Min Jun. He stands awkwardly at the end of the row, backpack over one shoulder, expression unsure. What? She asks, tired. You left the clinic very quickly, he says. Are you okay now? Yes, she says. Thank you for asking. It was just low blood. Sugar. He looks unconvinced. The nurse said you should rest. And the lecturer says I should pass my exams, she replies. One of them pays for the other. He hesitates, then steps a little closer. We're in the same media class, right? Professor Boateng's course? Yes. I'm not good with some of the readings, he says. I thought maybe we could study together. We have a group project starting soon. She lifts an eyebrow. You want help with understanding African media from an African girl who almost died of hunger and embarrassment in front of the class. He winces slightly at the bluntness, but nods. I mean, yes, and I can help with some of the theory if you like. I'm better with dense academic articles than with context. She almost says no. She does not have time for study partners. Her schedule is already a tightrope, but she remembers the way he ran toward her when everyone else moved away. She remembers his arms catching her before the ground did. Fine, she says. We can study. Once. After that, we will see. He smiles, a small, genuine curve of his lips that transforms his face from serious to boyish. Okay, after class tomorrow, in the library? I work tomorrow, she says. Cafe by the main gate. I can't stay late. What time is your shift? He asks. She tells him, then wonders why she does. Then we meet 2 hours before your shift, he suggests. I'll walk you there after. That is not necessary, she says. I know, he replies. But I want to. She watches him for a moment, trying to decide if he is dangerous. He doesn't give her the same feeling Kojo does, or the lecturer who stares too long. His gaze is steady but not invasive. Tomorrow, she says finally. He nods and leaves the classroom. That night, after washing dishes at the cafe until her back aches, Amma visits the hospital. The halls smell like disinfectant and worry. Kofi lies on the bed, headphones in, watching something on his phone. Hey, big sis, he says weakly, smiling. You see, they didn't kill me yet. She laughs, but it trembles. You like joking too much. They talk about school, about his friends, about the football match he's missing. She hides her fear. He hides his pain. They are both good at pretending. When she leaves, the nurse at the desk clears her throat. Madam, about the bill. I know, Amma says. I am working on it. She steps out into the cool night air and checks her wallet. It is almost empty. Tomorrow she will go to class, study with a Korean stranger, work at the cafe, and then find a way to earn more money. Somehow. She is so deep in thought that she doesn't see Kojo waiting near the corner until his hand wraps around her arm. Where you dey go, Amma? He asks, voice low. She stiffens. Home. He leans closer, the smell of cigarettes and cheap cologne, wrapping around her. I call you. You no answer. You think you're better now because you go university? I'm tired, she says. I don't want to talk. You don't want to talk, he repeats, mocking. But when you needed help for your brother, who did you run to? Who gave you money first? It was me. And I paid you back, she says. Every cedi. You think it's only about money? He grips harder, fingers digging into one of the already dark bruises. You're mine, Amma. Don't forget that. Pain shoots through her side. She bites back a cry. Leave me, Kojo. He pushes her against the wall. You think those university boys will look at you twice when they know where you come from? When they know how many times you lie down for me? Don't disgrace yourself. She shoves him hard. I said leave me. His face twists for a second, fury flashing. Then he scoffs, stepping back. Go. But remember, when this city finishes with you, you will still come back to me. She walks away without looking back, forcing her shoulders not to shake. Later, in her room, she takes off the hoodie and stares at the new bruise blooming over the old ones. She presses her lips together and wraps the cloth tighter around her torso. In another part of the city, Min-jun lies on his bed in the apartment his family arranged. It is spacious, cool, well-furnished. Too much for one exchange student. He stares at the ceiling and thinks about the girl who says fainting happens, like it is just another minor inconvenience. Amma. He can hear his mother's voice in his head. Do not get distracted. He turns on his side. He is already distracted. The next day, the library hums with quiet activity. Min-jun sits at a table near the window, notes spread out in neat piles. He checks his watch. He wonders if she will actually come. He almost gets his answer when a shadow falls over the table. You're early, Amma says. You're on time, he replies. She drops her bag and sits opposite him. Today, she wears a plain t-shirt under the hoodie, jeans faded from too many washes, and sneakers that have seen better years. Her hair is braided into neat lines. Her eyes look tired but alert. Okay, she says. Let's study, Korean boy. He smiles. My name is Min-jun. I know, she says. But Korean boy is easier to say when I'm annoyed. Are you planning to be annoyed often? He asks. Depends on how useless you are with media theory, she answers. They start with Professor Boateng's article on post-colonial framing in global news narratives. Min-jun understands the theory but struggles with the African examples. Amma explains patiently, gesturing with her pen. You see, when Western news channels show Ghana or Nigeria, they like to show only poverty, war, corruption, she says. They don't show ordinary people, happy moments, success stories. In Korea, it's similar, he says. News about Africa is always disaster or charity. And in Ghana, when they show Asia, sometimes it is only Kdrama, K-pop, or Chinese investors, she adds. People forget there are normal people in between. That's what the article is saying. He nods slowly. You're good at this. She shrugs. I like stories. I want to tell them one day, but first, I have to survive this course. They spend an hour going through readings, trading examples from Korean and Ghanaian media. At some point, the distance between them shrinks. Not physically, but emotionally. Why did you come here? She asks suddenly. Why Accra? You could have gone to London or New York like all the other rich foreign students. He pauses. Why do you think I'm rich? She looks pointedly at his watch, his shoes, the quality of his backpack. Your shoes alone can pay my hostel rent for 3 months, she says. Don't worry, I won't rob you. He laughs, a little embarrassed. My family is comfortable, he admits. They wanted me to study markets in Africa. It looks good on a business resume. So they sent you to study us like some project? She asks. It's not like that, he says quickly. I wanted to come too. I was tired of Seoul. Tired? She raises an eyebrow. I thought Seoul is like K-drama heaven. Rich oppas everywhere. He snorts. K-drama is lying to you, he says. Most of us are just tired office workers. My father runs a big company. He wants me to take over one day. My whole life has been planned since I was a child. Poor you, she says, but there is no sarcasm, just quiet understanding. Sometimes, he continues, it feels like I'm just filling a space someone else drew. Accra is my chance to breathe a little before they put me back in the box. She studies him for a moment. So we are the ones you came to breathe on. His lips twitch. Something like that. Her phone buzzes. She checks it quickly, expression tightening. Work? He asks. Yes, she says. I have to go in 30 minutes. I'll walk you, he says. She hesitates. Why? Because your body almost hit the ground yesterday, he says honestly. And I want to make sure it doesn't happen again. She rolls her eyes, but she does not refuse. On the way to the cafe, they walk through the busy campus, students flowing around them like a river. Vendors call out, selling snacks and drinks. You didn't eat lunch, he says. She looks at him, surprised. You were watching me? You pushed your food around the plate in the cafeteria but didn't eat it, he says. Is it the taste? I thought jollof is supposed to be good. She laughs despite herself. You ate the wrong jollof, she says. Cafeteria 1 is a crime. Proper jollof is at home or at Right Chop Bar. You will see. What time do you finish work? He asks. Late, she says. Don't worry. I know how to go home. He nods. Maybe next time I can bring snacks to the library. We can make studying less faint-worthy. She side-eyes him. You're not going to let that go? Not until your blood sugar is stable, he says. She shakes her head, amused and annoyed. You are strange, Korean boy. At least you're smiling, he says. Her smile fades a little. Don't get used to it. Accra will wipe it away again. The words linger with him long after they part at the cafe door. Days stretch into weeks. They establish a rhythm without really deciding to. They meet at the library 3 times a week. Sometimes they talk more than they study. He teaches her simple Korean phrases, laughing when her accent bends the words into music. Annyeong, he says. Onion, she repeats. Not onion, he says, chuckling. Annyeong. Annyeong, she tries again. Close enough, he says. It means hi and bye. She kills him with Ghanaian twi phrases in return. Try this, she says. Mepa wo kiu. He squints. Me, pa wo kio. She laughs. It means please. You will suffer here. She introduces him to proper jollof at a small chop bar near the campus. Tears gather in his eyes from the pepper. She laughs so hard she almost forgets the weight she carries. One evening, he waits outside the cafe at the end of her shift. The streets are quieter, the night warm. She steps out, pulling off her apron. Her shoulders sag with exhaustion. You didn't have to wait, she says. I wanted to, he replies. You look tired. I am always tired, she says. If I am not tired, something is wrong. Let me carry your bag, he says. It's fine, she answers. But her grip loosens and he gently takes it anyway. They walk together through dimly lit streets. He keeps to her pace, listening as she talks about Kofi. My brother is too smart, she says. He wants to become an engineer. He loves building things, but this sickness... She trails off. He waits. The hospital keeps calling, she says. They need more money. Always more money. Can the scholarship office help? He asks. She laughs bitterly. Scholarship is for school only. For hospital, you need miracle or connection. I have neither. His fingers tighten slightly on the bag strap. You shouldn't have to handle this alone, he says. She shrugs. Who else will handle it? My mother is selling everything already. Kojo. She stops suddenly. He notices. Kojo. Nothing, she says quickly. Old problem. He does not push, but he files the name away in his mind. A week later, he finds out who Kojo is. He and Amma sit under a tree on campus, sharing snacks from his bag. She nibbles slowly, clearly trying to make the food last. He watches, trying not to make it obvious that he notices. A group of students nearby laugh loudly. One of the guys, tall, wearing a flashy gold chain and an overly confident expression, spots them and freezes. Amma's body tenses next to him. The guy approaches. Amma, he says. So this is why you no answer my calls. You dey sit with tourists now. Ama's jaw clenches. Kojo, I'm busy. Kojo looks Minjun up and down slowly. Hey, fresh boy. You know where this girl from? You know how many boys passed through before you? Ama stands up. Stop. Kojo snorts. What? I'm just telling our friend truth. Foreigners like story. Let me give him story. Minjun stands too, stepping slightly between them. She said stop, he says evenly. Kojo turns his attention fully to him. See this one. You understand twice small. You think you can talk anyhow. He leans closer. You don't know this place, Korean boy. Stay in your lane. There is no lane where you get to insult her, Minjun says, eyes narrowing. Kojo laughs, but his eyes are hard. You want to fight for her? Okay. When you go back to your cold country, we will still be here. We know her story. We know her family. We know where she sleeps. Ama steps forward quickly. Kojo, go, please. I don't want trouble. He stares at her for a long moment. You're already trouble, he says softly. You just don't know it yet. He walks away, laughing with his friends. Silence settles around them. I'm sorry, Minjun says. It's not your fault, she replies. Who is he to you? He asks. She chews her lip. He used to be someone I trusted. When Kofi first got sick, he helped me with money. I thought it was kindness. It was not kindness. He hurt you, Minjun says grimly. She looks away. He thinks he owns me now, because I was desperate, because I said yes when I should have said no. No one owns you, he says quietly. She laughs without humor. You are not from here. In this city, when someone helps you, they think they buy a piece of you. I don't, he says. You're not like them, she replies. You don't understand. He looks at her, at the way she wraps her arms around herself, as if bracing against a storm no one else sees. I want to, he says. I want to understand. She shakes her head. You say that now, until it gets ugly. He does not know how ugly it will get. Not yet. But he knows he hates the way fear sits behind her eyes. Weeks later, the midterm exams loom. Stress builds. Ama works more shifts to pay for upcoming tests for Kofi. She sleeps less, eats less. Minjun notices her hands shaking when she writes. During a lecture, Professor Mensah, a man in his late 40s with a practiced smile and the calm cruelty of someone who enjoys power, hands back assignments. Ama's paper lands on her desk with thick red ink at the top, 48%. Her stomach drops. She flips through the pages. He writes vague comments like weak argument and poor structure beside paragraphs she knows are solid. After class, she approaches his desk. Excuse me, sir, she says. Can we talk about my grade? He does not look up from his laptop. Ama, right? You did not meet the standard. I followed the rubric, she says calmly. I even added extra references. He smiles faintly. Sometimes it is not just about the rubric. It is about your relationship with the course. I don't understand, she says. Come to my office later, he says quietly, eyes finally lifting to meet hers. After hours, we can discuss how to improve your marks. There are ways to fix things. Something in his tone makes her skin crawl. I have work, she says. Then maybe you can decide what is more important, he replies. Your job or your scholarship. It would be a shame if your financial aid committee sees this grade. Fear tightens in her chest. She nods stiffly and leaves. Outside, her legs feel weak. She finds a bench and sits, pressing her hands hard into her thighs. She has seen this pattern before. She has heard stories of lecturers who trade grades for favors. She never thought it would be her. Her phone buzzes. A message from the hospital lights up the screen. Reminder, payment due. Her vision blurs again. Later that day, she meets Minjun at the library, expression tight. Are you okay? He asks. I'm fine, she lies. He studies her. You only say fine when you're not fine, he says. She drops her bag on the table. My brother needs more tests. The hospital wants money I don't have. My lecturer is threatening my scholarship. Kojo is watching me like a hawk. And the only thing that looks good in my life is your accent when you try to speak Twi. He gives a tiny smile. So at least one thing is good. She sighs, letting the tension leak out. Why are you so calm? I'm not, he says. But if I panic, it doesn't help you. She stares at him. You can't help me, Minjun. This is Accra. It eats people like me. He feels something twist inside at her words. You said your brother wants to be an engineer, he says. Yes, she whispers. Then we need to keep you in school, he says, so you can graduate and help him get there. She laughs, bitter. You talk like it is easy. In your world, maybe. In mine. This time, he does not tell her he understands. He knows he doesn't, not yet. But he plans to. A few days later, he gets his first call from Seoul that changes everything. His father's assistant appears on his screen during a video call. Director Han, the man says formally, even though Minjun is technically not a director yet. The board wants you back in 4 months for the leadership program and engagement discussions. Engagement? He repeats. His father's face appears. It's time, son. The Park family's daughter is an excellent match. We will host the official meeting when you return. Focus on your studies and do not let distractions ruin your reputation there. He thinks of Ama's exhausted smile, of Kojo's threats, of Professor Mensah's predatory tone, of how this city has already marked her. I understand, he says, but his chest feels heavy. After the call, he walks across campus, needing air. He finds Ama sitting near the fountain, reading. Her hoodie is off for once, and the sun glows on her skin. Hey, he says, forcing a smile. She looks up. You look like your dog died. I don't have a dog, he says. Exactly, she replies. That's why you look like that. He sits beside her. My father wants me back in Seoul in 4 months. They are planning. He trails off. Planning what? She asks. A future I don't want, he says simply. But it's complicated. Rich people problems, she says lightly, though there is no real bite. I wish my problems involved too much money and too many mansions. He turns to her. I would trade all of it for a day where you don't look like you're about to fall over. She blinks. You don't know what you're saying, she murmurs. I do, he insists. If I could make your brother healthy, get your mother some rest, make Kojo disappear, and let you study in peace, I would give up every suit, every car, every stupid board meeting. She looks at him as if she is seeing him properly for the first time. Don't say that, she says quietly. You don't know how powerful that wish is. I know how powerless I feel here, he replies. I hate it. She looks away, throat moving as she swallows. Power is dangerous, she says. Look at Kojo, look at my lecturer. They have small power and they use it to crush people. Maybe it's good you don't use yours. He falls silent. That night, while reviewing assignments at his desk, he sees something strange in the digital gradebook the professor shares for their group work. Ama's work is consistently strong, yet her marks are uneven. Meanwhile, students who rarely show up somehow score high. It bothers him enough that he starts cross-checking. He notices a pattern. Professor Mensah consistently gives lower grades to certain poorer students and higher to those from wealthier families or those known to visit his office. The realization makes his jaw clench. He remembers his mother's words. Build relationships. Learn the systems. He also remembers the clause in his exchange program that connects Han Group as one of the major donors to the university's international fund. For the first time since he arrives, he considers using that connection for something he actually cares about. The next day, he makes a call to Seoul. Not to his parents, but to an aunt who handles the company's African partnerships. She is shrewd, smart, and one of the few adults he trusts. A professor is exploiting students here, he tells her. If the university's reputation is damaged, it reflects badly on our company's partnership, right? He outlines what he has found, careful not to mention Ama's name specifically as the main victim. His aunt listens. "Send me everything," she says. "If this is true, we can put pressure on the administration quietly. But you must be careful, Min-jun. People don't like foreigners interfering." "I know," he says. "That's why I want it to look like corporate housekeeping, not personal revenge." He sends the files. At the same time, he hires a local investigator through a security contact his aunt recommends to look into Kojo. Within days, he learns Kojo's gang is small but aggressive, fond of intimidation and petty extortion. They have small-time protection from a bigger group, but that bigger group's operations rely on shipping contracts with companies that just so happen to want to impress Han Group. Power, when mapped correctly, becomes a web. Min-jun starts pulling wires carefully. He does not tell Amma. Not yet. He knows she hates feeling like someone's project. Instead, he continues studying with her, listening, learning how deeply Accra's systems have already carved scars on her life. One evening, she arrives at the library late, eyes red. "What happened?" he asks. She sits heavily. "Dr. Mensah called me to his office," she says flatly. "He closed the door. He said if I don't want to repeat the course, I should cooperate." Rage fills Min-jun's chest, hot and sharp. "What did you do?" he asks carefully. "I walked out," she says. "He shouted after me that I'm ungrateful, that girls like me don't know opportunity when we see it, that he will make sure the scholarship committee hears about my attitude." He exhales through his nose, trying not to explode. "You did the right thing," he says. "I did the stupid thing," she replies. "I need this scholarship. Without it, I'm done." "You're not done," he says. "Trust me." She laughs bitterly. "Trust? That is an expensive word." He watches her chew her lip until it bleeds. His decision solidifies. That night, his aunt texts, "We spoke to the university's board. They will open an internal review of the professor you mentioned. Expect changes soon. Do not involve yourself directly." 2 days later, whispers spread across campus. Students talk in low tones in hallways. "Did you hear? Mensah is under investigation." They say some donors complained. They say he may lose his job. In class, a different professor appears, announcing she will be taking over temporarily. Amma listens, stunned. After class, she approaches the new lecturer. "What about our grades?" she asks. "We will be reviewing all assessments for fairness," the woman says. "If you feel your work was not graded correctly, you can submit an appeal." Amma's heart races. She submits without hesitation. A week later, her updated grade appears, 83%. She stares at the number until her eyes blur. At the same time, the hospital calls. She braces herself for bad news. "Someone paid the outstanding balance on your brother's bill," the administrator says. "A foundation, anonymous. They also set up a small fund for future treatment." Her knees weaken. She grips the edge of the table. "Are you sure?" she asks. "Yes," they reply. "You're very fortunate." She ends the call with shaking hands. Later that day, she notices Kojo lurking near the cafe as usual. But when he spots her, he looks nervous. He starts to approach. Then a car pulls up. Black, sleek, with tinted windows. A well-dressed man steps out and murmurs something into Kojo's ear. Kojo's face drains of color. The man points casually to Amma, then back at Kojo, his expression calm but dangerous. Kojo nods rapidly. From that day, Kojo stops coming near her. Her lecturer is gone. Her brother's bills are paid for now. Kojo has vanished. Relief crashes into her, but it is tinged with suspicion. Miracles don't happen like this in Accra. At the library, she stares at Min-jun over the table, mind spinning. "What?" he asks. "Did you do something?" she demands. "About what?" he replies carefully. "Don't act innocent," she says. "Dr. Mensah is suddenly gone. My grades are suddenly fixed. My brother's hospital bill is suddenly cleared. Kojo is suddenly scared of something. You appear, and my life turns into Kdrama. That is not normal." He opens his mouth, closes it. Maybe the universe decided to be kind, he says weakly. Please, she says. The universe has never paid anyone's hospital bill in Ghana. He exhales slowly. Would you be angry if I said I helped? Her eyes widen. You did. I had some connections, he admits. My family's company supports this university. I asked my aunt to investigate the professor, the hospital bill. I just asked an organization to help. And Kojo, I made sure some people explained that he needs to stay away from you. Her chair scrapes back as she stands. People glance their way. Why? She demands. Why would you do that? Because you needed help, he says simply. So I'm your charity project now. Her voice shakes. The sad African girl the rich Korean boy rescues so he can feel like a hero. No, he says, standing too. That's not. You lied to me, she cuts in. You let me think you were just another student. But all this time, you were making calls behind my back, playing with my life like a chess game. I was protecting you, he says. You were drowning. What was I supposed to do? Watch? Yes, she says, eyes bright with tears. If I drown, it is my business. At least I would know whose choices got me there. Now, everything is tangled. I don't know if I earned anything or if you bought it for me. His chest hurts. She grabs her bag. Don't call me that like you know me, she says. You don't know what this city does to people who owe favors. You just put me in debt to someone even bigger than Kojo. I don't want anything from you, he says. I just want you safe. And I want my dignity, she replies. We can't always get what we want. She walks away, leaving him standing in the middle of the library, heart heavy. For days, she avoids him. She sits in different spots in class, changes her work schedule, rearranges study times. He respects the distance, but he watches from afar. He sees the way her shoulders relax slightly now that Kojo is gone. He sees her laugh more with classmates. He sees the lightness when she tells someone her brother is doing better. He also sees the way she walks faster when she glimpses him, as if he is another danger. One evening, his aunt messages again. The local gang has been warned. They won't touch her. Also, the professor might be dismissed. Be careful not to be seen as the source. He looks out at the Accra night from his balcony. He can't shake the thought that he has become exactly what she fears. Another powerful person manipulating her life. The midterm break approaches. The university announces a scholarship ceremony to honor top-performing students. Amma receives an email. You are invited as one of the recipients. Her first reaction is joy. Her second is doubt. Did she earn this? Or is this just another string pulled by a rich boy who feels guilty? On the day of the ceremony, she almost does not go. But her mother calls, voice full of pride. They are honoring you, her mother says. Ah, God is good. You must dress nice. Let them see you are not ordinary. So she puts on her best dress. A simple deep blue one she has owned for years, but that still fits well. She wraps a scarf around her shoulders to hide fading bruises. She arrives at the university hall and takes a seat in the back. On stage, university officials talk about excellence and partnership. A representative from a major Korean company is present, smiling for photos. Her stomach sinks when she sees the logo. Han Group. It hits her fully then. Min Jun isn't just comfortable. He is part of this. His name might be on the slideshow, on the donation plaques, on the list of strategic partners. She considers slipping out. Before she can, a hand touches her arm lightly. She turns. It's him. He wears a simple suit today, nothing flashy, but it looks expensive anyway. He has no tie, his collar slightly open. He looks human, not like a prince. You came, he says, relief flickering across his face. I wasn't going to, she says. Then my mother said God is good. He smiles faintly. He is, but sometimes humans help. She glances at the stage. Humans who own half the sponsors. I told you my family is involved here, he says gently. I never wanted that to be the reason you succeed. But it is, she says. No, he says firmly. Your grades were already good. The professor's removal just stopped him from lowering them more. The scholarship committee saw your work. They chose you. You paid my brother's bills, she says. You scared Kojo. I removed obstacles, he replies. You're the one walking. She folds her arms, still not fully convinced. On stage, the master of ceremonies announces, we also want to acknowledge the presence of Han Min-jun, representing Han Group's International Exchange Initiative. Heads turn. Murmurs spread. Amma looks at him, stunned. You didn't tell them? She asks. I tried not to, he says. But my aunt insisted I show my face. It's good branding. He smiles wryly. The MC continues. Mr. Han, would you like to say a few words? He stiffens. I wasn't prepared. You don't have to, Amma says quickly. But he stands slowly. Maybe I should. He walks down the aisle toward the stage. She watches, heart pounding, unsure why. He climbs the steps, takes the microphone, and glances across the crowd. Good afternoon, he says in careful English. I'm Han Min-jun. My family's company partners with this university for scholarships and exchange programs. I came here as a student, not as a sponsor. I wanted to see for myself what the brochures don't show. Soft laughter ripples. When I arrived, I thought my role was to observe, he continues, to learn about markets and culture. But what I learned first was something else. How much strength it takes to be a student here. He sees Amma near the back, watching. I met someone who works all night, studies all day, supports her family, and still shows up on time with her assignments done, he says. This city tries to break people like her, but she is still here. Many of you are like that too. People look at each other, murmuring. I realized that if people like me, people with money and connections, only watch and write reports, then we are part of the problem, he says. So I want to say this. Any partnership my family has with this university must protect students, not exploit them. That includes professors, administrators, and anyone who thinks power is a license to hurt. The room goes very quiet. I won't mention names, he adds, but some of you know that a professor was recently removed for unfair practices. That is the kind of thing we cannot support. If we are to put our name here, it will be for something better. He pauses, taking a breath. I came here to run away from my future, he says, voice softer. Instead, I found people who reminded me what my future should be used for. If we have power, we must use it to make sure the strong do not keep stepping on the weak, not the other way around. The hall remains silent for a beat, then scattered applause grows into a wave. He steps back from the microphone, heart racing. He meets Amma's eyes again. She looks conflicted. Angry still, but also strangely moved. After the ceremony, as people mingle, officials swarm him, thanking him, shaking his hand. He endures it politely, but his gaze keeps searching for Amma. He finds her outside, under a tree, away from the crowd. You made a speech, she says, arms folded. It wasn't planned, he says. I just couldn't stay quiet. You spoke about me without saying my name, she says. I didn't want to expose your story, he says. But I wanted them to know people like you exist, people they should be protecting, not using. She looks at him, eyes shining. You know what will happen now? They will think you are some savior from Seoul who came to rescue the poor African students. They will praise you and still forget us tomorrow. Do you think I don't know that? He asks. That's why I said what I did in front of donors and administrators. They heard it from someone they can't easily ignore. That gives your complaints weight when you speak, not just now, but later. She is quiet. He takes a step closer. I never wanted to make you feel small, Amma. I never wanted you to feel bought. I know you hate owing people, so I don't ask you to owe me anything. Not gratitude, not friendship, not love, nothing. Her breath catches at the word love, even though he doesn't emphasize it. I helped because I couldn't live with myself if I watched you drown while I stood on a floating boat made of money, he says. If you want me to back off now, I will. but I won't regret what I already did. She stares at him, throat tight. You used your power in a way I've never seen before, she says slowly. Not to demand something, not to trap someone, just to remove weight. He nods. That's still scary, she adds. I know, he whispers. Power is scary. That's why it needs people like you near it. People who remind it where to point. Her lips tremble. I'm so tired, Minjun. Of being a weight someone else carries or a body someone else uses. I'm tired of owing. You don't owe me, he repeats. If you want, we can pretend it was all divine intervention. I won't mention it again. Don't joke, she says, but a tiny smile flickers. He takes a careful step closer, leaving enough space so she doesn't feel cornered. What do you want, Amma? Right now, if you erase everyone else's expectations, she thinks. For once, she lets herself answer without calculating the cost. I want to finish my degree, she says. I want my brother to get better. I want my mother to lie down one day without worrying how to pay tomorrow's bill. I want to tell stories that don't always end with our pain, and I want to wake up without flinching, even for one day. He nods slowly. Then let me stand next to you while you do that, he says softly. Not in front of you, not above you, just next to you. If you say no, I'll respect it. She looks into his eyes. For the first time, she sees not just a rich boy with connections, but a man struggling between two worlds, one that built him and one that is changing him. I don't know how to be with someone who can fix things with a phone call, she admits. It makes me feel small. Then I'll tell you every time that you're not the one being fixed, he says. The system is. You are the reason I even care to try. She laughs shakily. That sounds like something from a drama. My life feels like one lately, he replies. Silence stretches between them, full of things unsaid. 4 months, she says finally. You said you have to go back then. Yes, he says. My family expects it. And after that? She asks. I don't know, he says honestly. But I know I don't want Accra to be just a phase for me. I don't want you to be a chapter I close. You might go back and forget this place, she says. I don't think I can forget you collapsing in my arms, he answers quietly. Or everything I saw after that. She looks down, cheeks heating. Let's start small, she says. We can study again. You can walk me home. You can stop making decisions about my life without telling me first. He smiles in relief. Deal. And if you ever pay another bill, she warns, you tell me first so I can decide if I want to be angry. Yes, madam, he says. She glances up, and if I want to be angry, but also grateful at the same time, then I'll stand there and let you throw words at me until you're done, he says. And then I'll buy you proper jollof. She chuckles. You're learning. Time passes. They fall into a new rhythm, this time with more honesty. He tells her when his aunt plans meetings with the university. She tells him when the hospital calls. He doesn't rush to fix everything. Sometimes he just listens, sitting on a bench in the heat while she rants about bureaucracy. He visits Kofi with her once. At first, she resists, but Kofi insists after hearing about the Korean guy who eats pepper like punishment. In the hospital, Kofi grins. So you are the famous Min Jun. Famous, he echoes. My sister doesn't shut up about you, Kofi says. Either she is complaining or defending you. That is love in our house. Amma throws a pillow at him. Shut up and drink your medicine. Min Jun laughs, warmth spreading in his chest. He video calls his aunt from outside the hospital later. I think I know why I'm here, he says. Because your father needed a report? She asks dryly. Because I needed to see what our money can actually do, he replies. Not just for profits, but for people, for families like hers. She smiles faintly. You sound like a leader. I just sound like someone who finally cares about something real, he says. As his return date approaches, tension creeps back in. They sit on a rooftop one evening, eating suya and spicy noodles he cooks for her in his small kitchen. The sky over Accra glows deep orange. So, she says casually, when are you leaving me? Don't say it like that, he protests. 4 months is almost finished, she says. Do Koreans also pretend time doesn't move? In dramas, yes, he says. In real life, no. Will your family let you come back? She asks. He stares at the city lights. Maybe not soon, he admits. They want me to marry someone and join the company officially. You sound like it's prison, she says. Sometimes it feels like one, he replies. But I also know I can't just abandon it. If I walk away, someone worse might take my place. Someone who doesn't care about places like this. So you want to change it from inside? She asks. He nods. I want to create scholarships that don't come with strings, partnerships that actually help, not just look good in reports. I want to make sure students like you don't have to beg corrupt lecturers. And where do I fit into that picture? She asks lightly, though her heart beats fast. In every corner, he says quietly. When I think of what our money could do, I see your face. When my father talks about emerging markets, I think of Kofi in that hospital bed. You changed how I see everything. She looks away, blinking hard. That's a lot of pressure to put on one tired girl. It's not pressure, he says. It's gratitude. She swallows. When you go back, people will expect you to forget us, she says. They will give you new problems, new fancy people. You will meet that park girl or whatever. He sighs. Probably. And if she is nice? Amma asks softly. If she smiles at you like this? She forces a smile, half teasing, half sad. I'll be polite, he says, but I won't love her. You say that now, she murmurs. I'll keep saying it, he replies. If you let me call you, if you don't block me. She laughs weakly. Data is expensive, she says. I'll pay for your data, he answers. She glares. We talked about this. I mean, I'll help you sign up for the cheaper plan, he corrects quickly. She laughs more genuinely. The last week arrives faster than either wants. On his final night in Accra, they meet one more time on campus. The air is thick but cool, a hint of rain in the distance. The courtyard where they first met is mostly empty now. Do you remember? He asks. I remember my head hitting cloud instead of concrete, she says. I remember thinking you were dead, he says. I didn't like that feeling. She steps closer. I'm still here. He nods, eyes searching her face. You're stronger now, he says. Accra still tries, she says. But I have better weapons. He smiles. I'm one of them? Sometimes, she says. Other times, you are the problem. I can live with that, he says. Silence stretches, full of things neither wants to say. He takes a breath. Amma, I know long distance is hard. I know my world is messy. I can't promise it will be smooth if we try to keep this. He gestures between them. But I also can't pretend I can go back to Seoul and act like you were just some classmate. She looks up at him, eyes shining. What are you asking? I'm asking if you'd let me be your boyfriend, he says quietly. Even if I'm far away sometimes. Even if people don't understand. Even if we have to fight for it. Her heart lurches. Dating a Chaebol Heir in Accra, she muses. That sounds like one of those fake Wattpad stories. It does, he agrees. But we're already living one. She studies him. The boy who caught her in the rain. The man who used his power not to own her, but to move invisible walls she could never reach. You'll send me videos of snow? She asks. Every winter, he says. And you'll listen when I complain about power cuts? She adds. I'll call the government, he jokes, then sobers. I'll listen, always. And if one day I come to Seoul as an exchange student, she says, will you show me your world? I'll show you everything, he says, even the ugly boardrooms. She takes a breath that feels like stepping off a ledge and landing on something solid. Okay, she says, we can try. His eyes widen slightly. Really? Don't make me change my mind, she warns. He laughs softly, then grows serious. Can I? He doesn't finish the sentence. He just leans in slowly, giving her time to move away. She doesn't. Their lips meet gently. It is not a dramatic, sweeping kiss. It is careful, soft, full of promise more than passion. Still, her heart races, and his hand trembles slightly where it rests near her elbow. When they pull back, she exhales shakily. That was scary. Good scary or bad scary? He asks. She smiles. Both, but mostly good. He brushes a thumb under her eye where a tear threatens. You deserve good scary, he says. Accra gave me bad scary first, she replies. Then Seoul and I will try to balance it out, he says. They stand there for a long time, soaking in the moment. Eventually, he has to leave. His flight is early. At the airport, he checks his phone one last time before boarding. A message from Amma waits. Don't forget to eat. Don't let them bully you. Remember, Accra girl is watching. He smiles. On the day his plane lands in Seoul, she sends a photo of the campus courtyard. No rain this time. She stands tall, hoodie gone, head bare and proud. Caption, still here, not collapsing. Months later, in a boardroom in Seoul, when executives talk about African markets in cold, detached tones, he raises his hand. Before we decide, he says, I want us to consider what this partnership will actually do for students, for families, not just for our numbers. I've seen what happens when we use power without thinking. I won't be part of that. Some executives bristle. His father watches him with a new, measuring gaze. In Accra, Amma sits in a lecture hall, presenting a project on media narratives that doesn't end with African suffering, but with African joy, innovation, and love. After class, she checks her messages. Another voice note from Min Jun complaining about his arranged meeting with the Park family's daughter. She replies with a laugh. Remember, you already promised your heart to a girl who fainted in your arms. Don't backslide. Their story is not perfect. There are dropped calls, time zone fights, days when Accra's weight feels heavy and Seoul's expectations feel suffocating. But there are also shared victories. Kofi improving, her grades staying high, his company funding a new transparent scholarship with student input. One evening, months later, Amma stands again in that same university courtyard. The sky's clear. Students move around her. She sways a little from exhaustion, habit, but she does not fall. Her phone rings. Annyeong, Min Jun says. Onion, she replies. He laughs. How is Accra treating you today? Not as badly as before, she says. I think it's afraid of my Korean boyfriend. It should be, he says. We're both stubborn. She smiles, and this time, the city does not wipe it away. If this story touched you, if you watched till the end, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next Afro-Korean love story. Drop a comment. Would you trust someone with that much power, like Amma did with Min Jun? And tell which scene hit you the hardest. Your support keeps these long, emotional stories coming.